From the beginning of American settlement to the Civil War, slavery was used as a cheap form of labor. Slaves had no rights as people of the colonies or American citizens. Slaves were first brought to Jamestown in 1619, and it soon spread throughout the rest of the colonies. They mostly helped with the production of crops or worked on plantations. The spread of slavery was an issue, especially after the Missouri Compromise, in which Missouri was allowed to become a slave state, but the northern states could remain free. In the Supreme Court case Dred Scott versus Sandford, the court basically invalidated the compromise because they ruled that an escaped slave that was living in a free territory had no rights. This was a landmark case on the road to abolishing slavery because it dealt with the way it spread and how the North did not want to have to tolerate it anymore. Slaves were bought and sold similarly to property because that's what they were considered to their owners. Throughout the extent of slavery, slave owners had a lot of power economically and politically. After the American Revolution, many of the people who lived in the North colonies linked slavery to the oppression they felt under the British monarchy they had fought to be free from in the war. This started the call for abolition of slavery. The Constitution did not ban slavery, but it acknowledged slavery and said that each enslaved person counted as 3/5 of a person. At this time, a lot of slave population was in the South because of the production of cotton and other crops that grew there. That's basically where slavery was located for most of its time. Many slave revolts occurred over the 250 years that slavery was present, but very few were actually successful or had impact. The most notable ones happened in Virginia or South Carolina, but they happened all over. It's mostly a question of their success. At this time, free African Americans in the northern states, along with others, were beginning the abolition movement. Uncle Tom's Cabin and the Underground Railroad are just a few of the landmark things that were contributed to the movement. After Lincoln's election, 7 southern states seceded from the Union and formed what we know as the Confederacy. This secession started the Civil War. It began as more of a fight to preserve the Union, but turned into one that was over the issue of slavery. Many slaves were self-emancipated because they were needed to serve, but after the Emancipation Proclamation was issued, 3 million slaves were freed and the Confederacy lost a lot of their workforce. After the Union victory, the 13th Amendment was ratified, freeing the slaves. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, or the Civil War Amendments, began the Reconstruction era.